Hello again, my dear students, third prep students. This is Mr. Ahmed Sayad, and let's continue with Unit 2, Books and Reading. As usual, let's start with the conversation. There is a conversation between Tariq and Omar. Tariq says, I have some time before my next lesson. Let's choose a book to read. Omar says, there are lots of historical stories here, but there are few detective stories. Tariq says, that's because detective stories are more popular, aren't they? People like trying to solve the problems before the detective. People have less interest in historical stories. Omar says, detective stories are too long. I have little time to read this year because I have more schoolwork. So I want a book with fewer pages than a detective story. Tariq says, this book has the fewest number of pages and will take you the least amount of time to read. Omar says, Tariq, that book is about traveling, isn't it? Tariq says, true. This book is good. Its title is 10 Facts About the World. Omar says, I read a review of that book. It said it was very good. I'll read that. Okay, let's start with the questions. Question number 1. Ask and answer. Question number 1. When and where do you read? I read when I have some time. And where? Maybe at home, maybe at the library. Question number 2. What kind of things do you enjoy reading? I think detective books or detective stories is useful for the brain. Number 2, read the conversation. Where do you think Tariq and Omar are? I think they are at the library. Question number 3, answer the questions. Number 1, what does Tariq want to do before his next lesson? I think he wants to read. Why does Tariq say that detective stories are more popular than historical stories? I think because people like trying to solve the problems before the detective. Number 3, why doesn't Omar have very much time to read this year? I think because he has more school work. What kind of book does Tariq first recommend to Omar? I think at the beginning he recommended detective stories, but finally he told him about traveling book. Number 5, how does Omar know that 10 Facts About the World is a good book? I think he read a review of that book. It said it was very good. Now we have done with lesson 1, unit 2.